Our next presentation is from Joe Walsh, Managing Director of Lepidico Limited. Mr. Walsh is a resources industry executive, mining engineer, and geophysicist with over 25 years of experience working for mining companies and investment banks in mining-related roles. Joe was the General Manager, Corporate Development with Panost and was instrumental in the evolution of Panost from an explorer in 2014 to a $2 billion plus ASX 100 multi-mine copper and gold company. Joe also has extensive equity capital market experience and has been involved with the technical and economic evaluations of many mining assets and companies around the world. Thanks, Joe. Welcome you to the podium.
Thank you and good afternoon. And before I start, I'd just like to make a special thank you to Nangula and her team at NIPDB. So they've been of great support and assistance to Lepidico over the course of the last year or so. And it's so refreshing to have a government department that you can go to that is really very responsive. So if we need to get access to, say, a ministry that we don't normally get access to, like we've got a very good relationship with Ministry of Mines and Energy, for example, but NIPDB has provided really good support and access to other ministries when we've needed it. Thank you, Nangula. So Lepidico, we're an ASX-listed company, lithium development company, and we are the global leader in sustainable lithium mica processing. Now, you might think that's a bold statement. It is a bold statement, but we have spent the last 10 years developing process technologies specifically designed to extract lithium and other metals from the lithium mica and lithium phosphate minerals. And we tested 20 different deposits around the world. So I think we've now de-risked our phase 1 project to the point where we're ready to go into construction. And we provide a real alternative to roasting, which is, in our view, not a sustainable process. Our hydrometallurgical processes are. And it's those processes that differentiate us from other lithium development companies. And over the course of this, the next 15 minutes or so, I think you'll also see how we've got excellent sustainability credentials and what we're doing in community as well through our CSR programs. We're fully permitted, both in Namibia and for our downstream processing plant in Abu Dhabi, which I'll get to in a minute. So this schematic shows the flow of our material. We're redeveloping some open pit mines at Karabib in Namibia. It's straightforward open pit mining. We then go to flotation to produce a lithium mica float concentrate. That then gets trucked down to the port of Walsh Bay, where we'll be exporting that to Abu Dhabi, where we're building that downstream chemical conversion plant. You can see there the inputs into that plant. Our largest single consumable is sulfuric acid. We also use lime and limestone. And the outputs on the right-hand side are our primary product, lithium hydroxide. But we also strip out all of the other metals. The cesium and rubidium come out as sulfates. And then the potassium comes out as SOP fertilizer. And the residue is a gypsum, which can be also used as a product. And so there is actually no solid process waste that comes out of this chemical plant. And the positive water balance leads to, reports out as steam. So we don't have an effluent stream either, which is stark contrast to conventional roasting of lithium mica minerals, which produces very large quantities of waste and also effluent. So you see here Timo Ipengelwa. He's our General Manager of Operations in Namibia. He is responsible for the ore reserve here, just under 10 million tons at 0.4% lithium oxide, plus the byproduct elements that you can see there. The mines, when they come into operation, will not need a dedicated tailings storage facility. The tailings from the flotation plant will be mixed with mine waste into an integrated waste storage facility. As I mentioned, this project is now fully permitted. We've got a mining license, ML204, over 68 square kilometres, and most of our footprint here is within previously disturbed land from historical mining. So we're really trying to reduce our footprint. The infrastructure is excellent. Most of it is already in. The only thing that we need to build here is a 27-kilometre power spur to the switchyard just outside of the town of Caribib, and we've got a power supply agreement with NAM Power. We've also got the water rights for about twice the amount of water that we need for phase one. So there is potential there to expand throughput through this facility by about twice. So here you can see what the historical mining has resulted in. There's both open pit and underground workings, and that's the ore body right there. So we can get straight into the ore body. The strip ratio in the first year is just 0.2 to 1. And on the right-hand side, you can see a schematic of the float plant. This is a tiny plant. It's about 340,000 tonnes of throughput to produce around 60,000 tonnes a year of concentrate. So we're beneficiating this material from about 0.4% Li2O up to anywhere between 2.5 to 4% Li2O. And we've completed front-end engineering and design on that flotation plant. You can see here our leadership team in Namibia. I'm very proud to say that in Namibia we have an all-Namibian leadership team. There are fantastic skills in Namibia, in the mining industry. Moving to the UAE, Hans Daniels is our General Manager of Operations there. Our chemical plant will be located within the Kezad Industrial Park. This is 50 square kilometres of industrial park with shared infrastructure. We're building within the free zone, so there's no corporate tax, no import and export duty. The largest single consumable, as I mentioned, is sulfuric acid. Abu Dhabi is the world's largest producer of sulfur, so there's an abundant, affordable source of sulfur for manufacturing sulfuric acid. We've got affordable power, affordable gas, and as I say, it's really a plug-and-play approach here within these industrial parks. So we've got a 25-year land lease agreement with Kezad, and we paid the deposit, and they then installed the services that we need to the fence line of the site. And there's also an aggressive push in the UAE for bringing green hydrogen on stream. As soon as we can get access to hydrogen, we'll be looking at switching over our boiler, which is fueled by natural gas to start with, to green hydrogen, and we should drop our greenhouse gas emissions by about 2/3 and be best in industry as a result of that. So just to focus quickly on the process technologies, the lead technology here is called LMAX. The feed into LMAX is either a lithium mica or a lithium phosphate mineral concentrate. It starts off with a saturation sulfuric acid leach, so we effectively leach all of the metals out into solution, and then we add lime or limestone to neutralize and precipitate out the impurities. Some of the very elegant aspects of the chemistry is we keep the lithium in solution all the way through, and we see very little in the way of losses. And elements like fluorine, which is potentially problematic if you're roasting, go into solution and then complex with aluminium to form a benign aluminium fluoride. So this is a purely hydrometallurgical process that operates at atmospheric pressure, maximum temperature 120 degrees Celsius, compared to roasting at 900 or 1,000 degrees Celsius from a conventional process. So you can see how low energy intensity this is, and gives us those low greenhouse gas emissions. Our phase one project is designed to treat about 60,000 tonnes a year of concentrate and produce nominally around 5,000 tonnes a year of lithium hydroxide, plus byproducts. Conventional processing of micas in China using roasting does not produce the byproducts that we can produce by this process. The second process technology takes the product from LMAX, so that lithium sulfate intermediate, and directly converts it to lithium hydroxide. We do not use sodium compounds. Conventional processing produces large quantities of sodium sulfate, and the world is going to become awash with sodium sulfate, with all of the spodumene converters coming on, and also from battery cathode manufacture. We saw that as a potential fatal flaw. If we can't sell it, you can't just dispose of it. It's highly soluble. So we developed Lomax, which gives us a method to go from lithium sulfate using aluminium hydroxide to lithium hydroxide, and the main residue from that is again aluminium compounds plus gypsum. So you can see a schematic there of the chemical plant from Lycopodium, who'd completed both the feasibility study and then late last year completed front-end engineering and design, and that's the site ready to go, ready to be built on within KEZAD. This gives you the timeline. It's been quite a journey. We've completed definitive feasibility study. We've now completed front-end engineering and design. We've progressed detailed design and engineering to the point where we need to make deposits now for major mechanical equipment and put orders in for the major mechanical equipment. So finance is on the critical path. We're expecting to close out the financing for the integrated project this year, which will then allow us to go straight into construction, start mining in the second half of 2025, and then be bringing the two plants on sequentially through 2025 and into 2026. This gives you some of the investment fundamentals for the project. Total capex is 266 million. 63 million of that is in Namibia, the rest in the UAE. You can see there about a 3-year payback on that based on Benchmark Mineral Intelligence's lithium price forecast. Very attractive, 42% internal rate of return, and we've got a 19-year reserve life. And Tom Dukovic, our General Manager of Geology here, is about to start drilling again and is working on increasing that number, aren't you, Tom? So moving on to ESG, I mentioned our greenhouse gas emissions are relatively low vis-a-vis, say, integrated spodumene. The emissions are about 25% lower for our phase 1 project versus a typical integrated spodumene operation. With that green hydrogen, we'll be able to drop those significantly to between 3 and 4 tons of CO2 per ton of lithium hydroxide. Low water intensity, low land use intensity, and as a business, we've got a zero harm track record to this point. Earlier this year, mid this year, we handed over a maternity unit in the nearby town of Ochembingwe. This was a CSR project that was undertaken in consultation with both local community and also the Ministry of Health. And within the space of a few weeks, it was used 3 times, and there were 3 births in that community. With complications for births down in Ochembingwe, the only alternative is an 80-kilometre drive on dirt roads to the nearest hospital. So this is just an example of some of the CSR programs that Lepidico has committed to, and we're now working on our next generation of CSR programs within the community. So from a growth perspective, we've got, outside of our mining license area, we've also got an EPL. We're actively exploring within that. That's another 230 odd square kilometres. We've got LCT pegmatite targets, which we're going to be drilling this year to expand that resource base, not just to extend the mine life of phase 1, but we're mindful of phase 2. So we're doing site selection work for phase 2. We're evaluating a site down in Walvish Bay. We'll evaluate a site also in UAE, and we're looking at a couple of sites in the United States. So we'll take We'll be open-minded as to where a phase 2 plant might be through pre-feasibility study, but then we'll need to lock it down as we go into feasibility study. And as I mentioned previously, we've tested 20 different lithium mica deposits around the world using our process technology. We've yet to find a mineralization that we haven't been able to produce a battery-grade lithium chemical from it. So these process technologies have proved to be extremely flexible. So these are the near-term drivers. Financing is the major gating point for us now. That will allow us to go straight into construction. We've got offtake in place for the lithium hydroxide with the European trading company Traxys. We've got all of our permits in place, so we're ready to go. Thank you.